Wrapping up his remarks after 3 days of meetings at the United Nations that have been clouded by everything going on back in Washington. That's what it looks like right now in the very center of the bullseye. President Trump becoming just the fourth president in U.S. history to be facing the prospect of impeachment. These past 24 hours have seen a whirlwind of headlines in this story that has continued to change and develop by the minute.
Yeah, it sure has. So let's go ahead and get you caught up. You saw it here live on Local 4 News at 5 yesterday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi launching an impeachment inquiry into President Trump. So that makes him the fourth president in U.S. history to face such an inquiry.
And this inquiry still largely centering on a call made to the president of Ukraine, asking for help on investigating now his political rival, former Vice President Joe Biden, and the president firing back at that news conference that just wrapped up here just a few seconds ago. We bring in Jason Colthorpe with more on what he had to say and the reaction that's now starting to pour in. Jason, fact checkers are wearing out their keyboards right now.
Yeah, that was a lot to wade through. I mean, obviously, people watching that, and he was kind of all over the place, but let's try and break it down for you. The president, again, calling this whole thing, this whole controversy, a hoax. He scolded the press for covering it and not reporting on the meetings at the United Nations. And he also ran down some strong economic numbers for the country. But he then quickly addressed the phone call that led to the impeachment inquiry. And we'll get to the transcript of that in a moment. But first, here's the president in his own words a few moments ago.
You know, the so-called whistleblower, the one that didn't have any first class or first rate or second tier information, from what I understand. You'll have to figure that out for yourself. But I've spoken with Leader Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans, many of them, and we were going to do this anyway, but I've informed them, all of the House members, that I fully support transparency on the so-called whistleblower information, even though it was supposedly secondhand information, which is sort of interesting. But also insist on transparency from Joe Biden and his son Hunter on the millions of dollars that have been quickly and easily taken out of Ukraine and China. Millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars.
So now let's go back to earlier in the day when the White House released what it calls the full transcript of that call between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine. Let me read through a key part of that. Quote, it starts with the president saying there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the attorney general would be great. And Zelensky responds, yes, it is very important for me, and everything that you just mentioned earlier. For me as a president, it is very important, and we are open for any future cooperation. The president had one of his classic reactions to that. Listen.
When they look at the information, it's a joke. Impeachment for that? When you have a wonderful meeting or you have a wonderful phone conversation?
And the target of all of that, including the call, 2020 rival Joe Biden weighing in on this tonight in a statement released this afternoon. He says, quote, it is an affront to every single American and the founding values of our country. This is not a Republican issue or a Democratic issue. It is a national security issue. It is a test of our democratic values. And one other thing that we should point out, the president also said some Democratic senators made the same threat to the Ukraine earlier. They were referring to cleaning up corruption or they wouldn't get that money from the United States. And some of the reaction we're already getting, there's a big difference between threatening to not clean up corruption versus threatening to investigate a political rival. But obviously, we'll send it back to you in the studio. And we are working to get reaction from Michigan lawmakers on the president's remarks. We'll get that for you on Local 4 News at 6, Devin.
Yeah, you bet, Jason. All right, we'll talk to you again soon. We have posted the full 5-page transcript that was released. Not really not right to call it a transcript. We'll call it a summary, which was the way it was all sort of jotted down as the president completed that phone call with the Ukrainian president. You can find a link to that. It's on our homepage at clickondetroit.com.
All right, back here at home, we have some breaking news to tell you about. We're getting our first look at the man arraigned today on charges of criminal sexual conduct. Ibrahim Al-Ghaim, the man you see here, faces 2 counts of CSC allegedly involving an 18-year-old victim. Hamtramck police say the alleged crimes happened in the area of Florian and Latham Streets in Hamtramck. Al-Gahim is out on bond tonight. He'll be back in court next month.
After spending nearly 3 years in a Chinese prison tonight, a Detroit native is back home.
Wendell Brown was arrested following a bar fight while he was overseas working as a football coach. He was convicted and given a lengthy sentence his lawyer said was excessive. And as our Paula Tutman shows us, his family fought nonstop to get to today.
Better than a Pro Bowl contract and thrilling chanting fans, the voice of a grandmother.
Let me up in here! It's been such a long time. It's been so long since I've seen you. Oh my goodness, it's been so long.
I've been waiting on this moment for years. I've dreamed of this moment, and it's finally here. It's finally here, and I'm so thankful.
Wendell Brown won his freedom from a Chinese prison after being held for 3 years for a bar fight he says he didn't start and wasn't a part of. He says he was throwing up his hands in self-defense. The Chinese government saw it differently and charged him with what amounts to criminal assault. But Brown says after pleas from friends, family, the State Department, and the state of Michigan, he was released a year early and into the waiting and wanting arms of those who love him early this morning.
Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all so much.
Everyone in the world who sent a prayer up for us or even thought about us and our situation, I thank you.
The hardest part for him, not having any verbal contact with family for nearly 2.5 years. His only phone call to his dying grandfather.
He said, son, I'm gonna try all I can to hold on till you get here. He said, but if not, just know that Grandpa loves you. It was just heartfelt.
But today he is gracious and filled with gratitude as he stands on U.S. soil, a free man with one thing in mind: Grandma's cooking.
Eat and laugh with my family, just celebrate. It's a celebration. It's a joyous occasion.
Oh yes, I done started cooking dinner already. I started yesterday cooking dinner for today. Well, he said he wanted a Thanksgiving dinner. So I've been prepping all, and banana pudding, I already made that. It's in the refrigerator. 3 o'clock, we sit down, praise God, and we will eat.
Paula Tutman, Local 4.